Welcome back to a brand new season of TVGP's Critical Misses. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpear.
Oh, it's another one, dude. It's another season.
But it's a romantic season this time because season 27 we're doing romantic comedies again. We
Go
are,
check out the pay for patrons only. Go check out the production meeting to see this left Kev of a Ted of a swerve.
go check out patreon.com/E1M1
Ones and numbers.
at the $5 tier or higher. You can hear the behind the scenes. I think they're all really good. I think this one is especially good. We figure out this season, but we also figure out a emotionally charged season that we sort of stumble upon. It's one of those usual seasons where we're like, hey, what's this? Whoops, it's a giant season. There it is. Okay. Yeah, we found another one.
Except this time we did it all on like recording rather than that thing where it's like, oh, by the way, Boston, I added 17 romantic comedies into the thing.
That's right. Yeah, so go check that out over there. I think last season that we did romantic comedies, we came away a bit more surprised than expected, especially about some movies we hadn't seen before. So now that
one
it's
was a banger and one popular one was horrendously terrible.
Right. And now that it's February here, the month of romance, I might as well talk about five more romantic comedies here.
Sure.
Tis the season, as they say.
And it's also, we might as well face it, like my holes are big. Phrasing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
My voids in media experience are big.
Yep. Let's say your media misses.
Yes, they are critically big.
Yes.
However, yours are worse.
Yes. Hence the foundation of this show.
Yes, this is the place where you have the lead from me.
Yes.
Because we've established before, I didn't really ever watch romantic comedies, and as such, it's just one of those things now where I'm 100% left not knowing anything about these kinds of movies.
Right. Left cold and alone, like at the end of the first act of a romantic comedy.
Yes, like a Hallmark plot. I'm looking for my significant other's help.
It's time for you to quit your high-paying job in the big city and move back home to take care of your parents/grandparents/adoptive parents' business. Oops.
Have you seen the state of England right now? I'm good, thank you.
Time for you to stay here. Yeah. So we're going to do 5 romantic comedies for this season. Because why not? 5's a great number. We're going to start here with Always Be My Maybe, which I feel like is probably, out of all 5 of these, is probably the one that fewest people have seen. It came out in 2019 on Netflix. And because it's a Netflix movie, it didn't come out anywhere else, like theaters, which would actually help people see it, and enjoy the movie.
Yeah, you got to be producing that hashtag content, dude.
That's right. That's what we're doing, Patreon. So, stars, I think 2 big actors. First one is Ali Wong, who people...
Stand-up comedian.
Yeah, stand-up comedian. Probably people know her for some of her voice acting stuff, too. Like, she's in Tuca and Birdie. She's Birdie in that show. She was on American Housewife, the show that I really like, the live action sitcom.
Yep, you don't watch Aliens, but you watch trashy TV. I know.
It sounds like it's trashy TV, but it's not.
Sure.
It's the first episode is the main character hates this other woman in town because the main character is the second fattest woman in town, and the first fattest is moving out of town. So her ranking is moving the other way, and it's like, okay, all right, you got something here. That show is pretty good. She was also in Beef, that kind of Netflix hit from 2023. You've probably seen her in something.
I've seen her in a lot of YouTube shorts that get randomly fed to me.
Right.
It's Joe Rogan, Liverpool Football Club, comedians.
There you go. All right, well, 2 of those are good. It's not Joe Rogan, for anyone listening.
Yes.
Then also Randall Park is the male lead here, who people have probably seen him in pretty much everything, because he's one of those
Come on.
character actors.
Let's talk about how he's most known. He is the cop who is good friends with Ant-Man in the MCU.
Yes, he is known for that.
That is how people know him.
We have also seen him in Aquaman. He's that doctor,
The scientist who met with Black Manta. Yep.
Yeah, he's the like conspiracy theory doctor. So we've seen him in at least a very notable role in Critical Misses. Do you know? So those are our two leads. Do you know who else is in this movie?
No idea. The only thing I have for this movie is the poster on your screen and the name of it.
Okay, that's good. There is
Wait, is this the Keanu Reeves movie?
Oh no, you knew it. Yes, it is the Keanu Reeves movie.
I knew there was an Asian actor in that movie. I just wasn't sure exactly what movie it was. And then as soon as you said that, I was like, wait, hold on a minute.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the Keanu meme.
Yeah.
One of the many Keanu memes.
Yes.
But the Keanu meme of that era.
Yeah, it is meme rich from Mr. Reeves here. Probably one of my favorite roles of his in this movie. It's really, really great. I remember liking this movie quite a bit, largely because it was trying to take kind of a modern approach to a romantic comedy and not try to be kind of like overly flowery about it. Like, nobody's life is perfect. It's this kind of more realistic approach to the movie, or I guess to the genre. And you
can tell I knew nothing about this, because otherwise this would be a non-white romantic comedy season.
That's right. Well, we're trying to mix it up here a little bit,
True.
But it sounds like you know nothing else about this
Literally
movie
nothing.
Okay.
I can take a guess, which, based on the title alone, I'm going to guess these are the two people, the two leads are the two people who, not in the opposite of the Harry Met Sally, where they're not like, we'll never be together, we hate each other. In this case, it's more likely that they are if we're not married by the time we're 35/40/ whatever the age may be, me and you will get married just so we can get that thing done, kind of thing.
Good old marriage pact.
Yes, that would be my assumption just based on the title, because it's either that or it's the constantly near misses. One is single, the other one is not. One is then the opposite is true. Then they're both dating, and they both hate each other's partners. Tropes.
Right. That old chestnut. Are you excited to watch more romantic comedies for this season?
Yeah, because I think we established it in the production meeting. I have only seen one of these. I am completely out of my depth when it comes to this specific genre.
Right.
And I'm always more than happy to sit down, because 90% of the time, these are 90-minute bangers.
That's right.
And you can just fly through it nice and quick.
Yep. This one is 1 hour and 41 minutes. In and out. Love it.
Perfect. Yep. Like just over 90. So basically 90, like an hour, an hour and a half with credits. That's what we're looking at. So 90 minutes, that'll do me. Perfect.
Perfect.
But no, it's also like, I want the surprises. Like, I did not expect the outside. What was it? The outsider, the long shot.
Yeah, in our first season.
Based on who was in that and who was starring in that, I went in that movie expecting to despise it. And I was very surprised to come out the other side of it being like, oh, hey, this is the best one this season, by the way.
Yep. Who would have guessed that would have been the best one? Yeah.
And also, rip apart some classics. Tear that Band-Aid off.
Yep.
Space 2001 isn't that good, folks. I haven't seen it. Don't at me. Just
listen to the production meeting. Yeah, and it's that's part of the reason why I like some more modern romantic comedies is there's some that I think that try to do a twist on the genre that I think very few of those have been super successful. There hasn't been like a romantic comedy version of Happy Death Day where you're like, you're making
Yes.
something different here. Okay, yeah, that was cool. Like you took a different approach
I'm
to
sure.
this.
I'm sure from a certain perspective, Sliding Doors is a romantic comedy in that kind of style.
maybe,
I hate that movie so much.
maybe, yeah. But it's nice to have some more modern ones instead of it being like they're all the good ones came out in the 80s. You know, it's nothing like that. So I'm hoping that I haven't watched this since it came out. I'm hoping that revisiting this is I feel as positively about it as I did before because I remember
Yes.
enjoying this. So, all right. On that note, let's go watch the film.
Yay!
We're back. We have returned. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
We have
Bonjour.
Oh, bonjour. Welcome to my
If
restaurant.
I could say it in Cantonese, I would, because that's one of the funniest parts of this movie.
That's true. Yeah, we're back from watching Netflix's Always Be My Maybe here. I wanna get into the big question here right before we start this. Vibe check.
Oh, is this going to be a vibe check?
How are you feeling? Yeah.
So very
Yeah,
Like-
I remembered liking this movie more than I like it now. And I don't know if that's you know what orientation of the cosmos is. Maybe I'm in a bad mood now, maybe I'm not in the mood for a romantic comedy, maybe I'm not in the mood for a comedy, but
I mean, did you see this when it came out?
yes. Because it was pretty heavily promoted by Netflix.
It was promoted to hell.
Like,
yes.
Look, we have Ali Wong and Randall Park, like these two huge comedians, making a romantic comedy together just for our platform. I was like, in 2019, you were like, yeah, look, it's like a real movie on Netflix. Let's go. But 2024 is maybe not as great.
Maybe the thing that has changed for you is the thing that probably changed for me a little bit earlier, which is a lot of this comedy is awkward comedy.
I see
it's laughing at the awkwardness of the situation. Which
there certainly is a lot of that here, and I don't have as much of a problem with that as a lot of other people do, and I understand why that frustrates people or they don't like it. I think one of my larger problems with this movie is so much of it is poking fun at the pretentiousness of like San Francisco
celebrityism.
Yeah, and like being rich and being a celebrity and being, oh, look how tiny this food is. Oh, I've ate dinner and I'm still hungry. Whoa, rich people. And it's like, yeah, man, sure, but like I've been
it's
watching that movie for about 30 years.
Yeah, it's poking fun in two different directions, and I never realized it until you literally just said it. But it's from one side of it, which is Randall's side, who is Marcus. From his side, it's poking fun at the nature of celebrity and the highfalutin rich lifestyle. And then from Ali's side, Sasha, it's poking fun at the dude who only lives in his neighborhood and only wants to stay in his neighborhood because that's what he knows and what he feels loved in.
Right.
It's literally no. Who's that famous comedian? The old guy with the long hair. He was in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. You know exactly who I'm talking about.
100% drawing a blank because you put me on the spot here.
But
yes.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Sorry to our listeners. We're blanking on this one.
I'm looking it up as we speak. He had the famous line in one of his stand-ups where comedy should punch up. Should always punch up.
Yep.
It should never punch down, because the second you start to punch down, then you're just bullying. You should
Yep.
always punch up.
Right.
Go after the people above you. Go after the government, society, rich folk. Go after these things.
Yep.
Don't go after the people on the ground because that's just bullying.
Mm-hmm.
George Carlin is his name, by the way.
Thank you.
And it feels like this is a mixture of punching up at the rich folk, but then also just being mean to someone who's not in a great position.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and let's just get it out the way. The pair of them are D-bags through 90% of this movie.
Yeah. It's so frustrating because the majority of this movie takes such wild swings. Like the intro of this movie where you see that Sasha's childhood is so lonely because her parents are just never home and she's left to fend for herself for an entirety of a day, if not days on end. And she's frequently saved by her neighbor, Marcus, and his family. And they really kind of adopt her and they really show her how to like what a family is and kind of what familial love is, and that stuff is really sweet and undercut, I think, really well by Marcus's mom dying suddenly in the middle of them having this almost date. You know, it's like, it's that kind of like,
yes,
we're friends, but this could be a date, but we're friends, but you know, that kind of gray area.
Yeah.
And I still really like that scene of Marcus talking to his dad, and his dad can't find the coffee filters in the house because he doesn't know where she puts them. Like, that's such a good... We don't always see... Like, a lot of times we see somebody falling to their knees in the rain. Wow, she was so young! And we don't get these day-to-day
moments. He might actually know, but he just can't think of where it is in that moment. And the funny thing is like, I literally... As soon as that scene happened, like the next scene after the car incident, Marcus says he's not going to college, and immediately it was like, yeah, he's not going to college because he doesn't feel like his dad can be alone.
Yeah.
And his dad is not showing that he can be alone because he literally can't find the coffee filters.
Right. Yeah, and it's... I like that kind of back and forth. I think that scene is done really well. I think the romantic car scene is about as awkward as you can make a scene on film. I struggle to think of how you can make that more awkward.
It is super awkward, but also it is awkward in a very realistic way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think... So this scene and then the Burger King scene afterwards is the genesis of what I think my problem is with this movie overall, on second viewing of it. So after they have had a romantic interlude in the car and they're laying in the back seat, they're both kind of taking stock of, well, things are different now. We've done this thing. How do we deal with this? And there's the moment... Yes, poorly. But there's the moment where she says, like, God, your car smells like Parmesan. He's like, oh, that's the Parmesan. I have some Parmesan in the glove box. And that paired with the end of the next scene where they go to Burger King, where the guy's like, would you, home of the Whopper, you can order one to go if you want to go cry in your car. Like, those are inherently funny lines. Like, those are well-written comedic lines from... It's... Ali Wong and Randall Park both wrote this movie together over a period of a number of years because they were trying to make, she said specifically, our version of When Harry Met Sally, which fairly successful following that formula. But
yes,
to me, in a romantic comedy, the comedy... You want both the comedy, you want both the rom and the com to both feel natural. And I think the quiet moments between Sasha and Marcus, especially when they're one-on-one, feel really natural. That chemistry feels really good. But a lot of times with the comedic side of it, it feels too much like it's two comedians trying to one-up each other. and like
A little bit, yes.
they have the perfect line. They're just like waiting to fire off. Like it's a little too much of like they needed to chill a little bit and kind of deliver some of that stuff. I don't want to say differently because I'm not a comedian. I don't want to be like an armchair comedian or something, but it felt too much like I have the perfect joke for the perfect time and we're going to shoot it perfectly and it's going to just be perfect instead of it being a little bit more natural. And I think that frustrated me on this viewing. I think that drug my opinion of this movie down quite a bit. So, we do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, go ahead.
Not a whole lot of the jokes like hit for me as a whole. The funny thing is, I think when the movie is being heartfelt or being genuine about its emotions rather than trying to be funny, I think that's when the movie's at its best.
I
Like
agree.
the scenes with Marcus's mom dying, that is genuinely heartbreaking kind of moments. Like you said, that he can't find the coffee filters is such a natural human scene. There's no jokes. It's just this is the situation as it is. And then like their bonding over the situation in the car is fine. The awkward scene is awkward. But when you get to the end of the movie, it does like 3 or 4 heartfelt things in a row, and all of them really hit hard.
Yeah.
Compared to the jokes.
Right. And I kind of like this reintroduction here that we had is the next scene where it's 16 years later and Sasha is this hugely famous celebrity chef who's opening restaurants all over the world and they're all wildly successful. She's engaged to Daniel Day Kim, who's just like his name Brandon is the character's name, who's like he's a successful restaurateur. They're like running this empire together. And I like the dichotomy between their scenes and then Marcus and his dad living at home, where Marcus is giving his dad an injection, but they have this comfortable routine that they're settled in, kind of the opposite side of the coin to the kind of sterile coldness of Sasha and Brandon.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's even like Marcus is sitting there and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna smoke some weed and have a dance battle. You in?" And his dad's like, "Yeah, okay, fine, let's have a dance
now
battle."
that you challenged me. Like, his dad, that actor is so good for the entirety of this movie. Like he feels like one of the more natural kind of presences in the movie, I think, because he feels good in that role in a way that sometimes other people don't.
And I wonder if it's because he's not trying to be funny.
Right. I think he's just kind of, maybe he's just that dude, you know, like,
yes.
We see Marcus, to touch on some other stuff here. We see Marcus with his girlfriend, the lady with the dreadlocks.
Hippie.
Yeah.
Hippie. Might as well just say hippie.
Yeah. We see Marcus in his band, which is Hello
Peril.
Hello Peril. Thank you.
I have a note about this. Do you get that that's a very funny / stupid joke?
I did not until I was looking at Wikipedia saying that was a reference to Yellow Peril. And I was like, oh.
Yes, the Yellow Peril, which was the 60s and 70s and 80s even, like, whole thing of Asian people are terrible. I literally made a note when they said the name of the band. I was like, I bet you everyone in the band is Asian. And they are, to some extent.
Yep, that's really good.
Granted, one of them is maybe Southeast Asian, which is a different kind of Asian, but still Asian.
And genuinely really good songs. Like, when he's getting ready to go on stage, you're like, man, this is gonna suck. Like, none of these bands are ever good, especially when the main character leads them. And it's pretty good. Like, Randall Park writing lyrics along with Dan the Automator, and oh, what a shock, made some pretty good music.
Yes.
That
it's all very
surprise.
local as well. It feels local, which is very appropriate for his character as he sings songs about what is going on in his life, in his neighborhood, in
Right.
his situation. He's not thinking about the world's problem. He's thinking about how tech bros came in and bought out all of San Francisco.
That's right. That's right. Um, the uh, there's a whole bunch of scenes here that I don't want to like dive all the way into, but eventually Sasha breaks up with Brandon because he's delaying her wedding, and they want to do the
He
like.
breaks up with her.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he wants to just take a year-long break and like try
6
it
months,
out.
but yes.
6 months, yeah. And
Be apart but together and see if we still
that's
feel the
right.
same when we get back.
It's
And oh
such a
look, there's Padma Lakshmi on his Facebook
it's so
profile.
it's so good that just like to look at the social media and she's like, is that Padma? He's bacheloretting with Padma? It's like, yeah,
Hmm.
that's really good. I appreciate that.
And she even said when he calls, he's like, "Oh yeah, Padma was making me breakfast this morning." He's like,
That's so good. Oh
"That's
man.
a real underhanded cut, like kind of
Hmm.
thing."
Yeah. The two of them have their kind of meet cute here when Marcus and his dad are hired to do the air conditioning for her temporary home. Um,
Hmm.
and I'd love.
This is all kinds of different. We've got this in completely the wrong order, but that's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
it doesn't really matter too much.
no,
I really like this scene of Marcus's dad just barging in and being like, "Hey, it's you! Hey, it's you! Oh, what's going on? Oh, you're big and
how
famous."
much money did you make?
Yeah, and he's like, he's not kidding.
Hmm.
Just it's like it's really good. I'm still not sure about Michelle Buteau as Veronica here in
About
the movie.
yeah.
I,
Her performance is good, but you could have done with some of her in the high school because basically it seems like
yeah,
everybody who has interactions in this, like the band is all from high school except for the drummer,
right.
Samantha, I think.
Mhm.
Like Veronica was in high school with them all too, and she knows them all from high
Right.
school. Like I think in the montage at the start where it showed them as kids growing up. I think you could have had like younger versions of maybe Veronica and the rest of the band in there
Mm,
too to show that there was a bigger group of friends and they were
right.
all aware of this connection that these two shared.
Yeah, other than them just kind of showing up here in these scenes and be like, "Oh, you again." It's like, "Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Sure, I guess." Um
I didn't know Marcus was going to be there. The name of the company is Harry and Son.
it's really good. Oh man. Um I I like this kind of initial realization that Marcus does have feelings for Sasha after so long, and he's like, he's got his gumption up, he's gonna go tell her, and then she found somebody that she's really into.
Yeah,
What?
the farmers market scene where
Yeah,
because the funny thing is it's his dad that pushes him. His
right.
dad is like, "Yeah, dude, like I never liked Jenny," while they're getting the massage.
Hmm.
Um,
He's like,
like, yeah,
obviously
I
it's
never
Sasha.
liked Jenny. Hmm.
Like,
Do you
what do
really
you?
need to ask why I'm saying that now?
That's right. And it's nice for a change in a romantic comedy that the main character is just like, oh, yeah, yep, you're right.
Hmm.
Instead of just being like, well, I don't know, and 30 more minutes of
Hmm.
like, geez, Willikers, I don't know.
We still end up with 30 more minutes of G Willikers, just in
Right.
a slightly different way.
Yeah, I like that
Go on,
she says,
tell.
"Hey, let's go have a double date, you and Hippie and me and my new beau. We're gonna go to this
Mhm.
fancy restaurant." And then it turns out to be Keanu Reeves.
It's Keanu.
And it's so like him in slow motion while Sail plays, which is like probably one of the more
Yes.
dated things, but it's so good that like everybody else is moving in normal motion. Every time it cuts back to him, he's in slow motion. And it's playing that song is just is really good. And then him being, I think,
The funny thing is I think he is being Keanu, but also not at the same time because
right.
obviously this was recorded in 2024. Things change, things happen. There's always a chance for Keanu to come out as a wrong'un.
Yeah.
Please no.
Yeah, please no.
Um, but from everything from that I understand is Keanu is genuinely a nice guy,
Yeah.
genuinely a cool guy. You
Yeah.
go and watch interviews with him, and people are ask him like, "What thing do you value the most?" And he's just like, "Experience, life,
Mhm.
love," and he seems like a hippie in the hippiest kind of hippie ways, who just
Right.
happens to be a megastar.
Right.
But he seems like a genuine, down-to-earth person. We've all seen the gif of him giving his seat up in the subway in New York to the pregnant lady. Uh, and it seems like he's taking that and acting like that is a public persona that he's put on.
Right. Like who people expect Keanu to be.
And then just turning it up to like 11 or 12, where he's still
Right.
being nice, but he's also being a D-bag in the way that he's being nice.
Right. And like I really don't like most of this scene because so much of it is just like the and I get this is laying the groundwork of the payoff in the last scene of the movie, but like the extended joke here of like, oh, the we're just squirting bubbles over your plate, and this is just like a whiff of smoke, and that's your, like that stuff has
The
been done.
monochrome meal is
The monochrome
one of my
meal.
favorites.
Yeah, and like all of it, there's one joke I really like, I'll get to in a second, but like all of that was kind of done to death by the time this movie came out, and 5 years after that, I'm like, yes, okay, I get it. Like, well, the with the
It's
headphones,
a rich people restaurant.
yeah, like it's
The headphone scene is the thing that makes this.
the headphone
It really
scene, and it's
sells it.
largely because of Keanu crying and saying I'm sorry while he's eating it, and then Sasha over there just like happily cutting into it and just like wolfing it down. That's probably the
I like
highlight
fact
of this
that
scene.
one of the tables in the background has headphones on too, and one of them doesn't, so they haven't hit that course yet. Which
Right.
I think that is the best part of the food section. I do like the Keanu getting some air excuse where he
Yep.
goes and just pays the bill,
Right.
and then he's like, "Yeah, it's $6,400. It's a little bit out of your ballpark."
And I like that Marcus at that point is like, wait a minute, is he? Wait, is he kind of a jerk? Like, what is he? And I like that there's like a little bit of, you always hear from people, especially on social media, about like, Asian families going out to eat and like everybody into a fist fight over who's going to pay the bill. And Marcus is like, I didn't even get a chance to like offer to pay the bill. And Keanu's just like, you can't, man. Don't even like it's. That's not even an option. Come on.
It's less than a residual check for my hit movie Speed.
that's such a good line. I love it. If he didn't say my hit movie, it wouldn't be such a good joke. But just dropping that is just like, all right, you get it. Like this is, you've got your tongue in cheek here. They go back to his hugely giant hotel room. That's like,
what is that thing called? I can't remember. There's a specific type of like room in a hotel where it's not just a room; it is literally a floor.
Right.
And you get out of the elevator straight into the room.
We are not rich enough to know that word on hand.
Nope.
Yeah.
Hotel room, which is a floor.
Right.
Googling.
Yeah, because it's not even like a suite. It is a, like you said, it's a floor. There's a landing you come out of. And then we start the eventual fight between Marcus and Keanu Reeves, where Keanu is just being pretty terrible and Marcus is being pretty jealous. And then that ends up with Marcus punching Keanu Reeves and then getting into a fight. And the Marcus and Sasha leaving, and Marcus's girlfriend being like, I'm gonna stay, hang out here with Keanu.
Yes, it could be an apart hotel, which is an apartment in a hotel, or it could just be an executive suite or a master suite. It could be one of those.
Yeah.
My favorite part of this is the icebreaker game. If you could kill someone in this room, who would it be? And everybody says Marcus.
Even his girlfriend says Marcus.
And she literally like, look, that cultural footprint is so big. I would feel terrible taking that out of the world. It's got to be you.
She's so in love with Keanu. It's so great. Oh, man. And I love that Keanu offers to get them an Uber, and they accept, and then he gets them an Uber pool. Like he doesn't even pay the extra money to get him like a private Uber. Oh god, it's so good. And it's an interesting way for Marcus and Sasha to kind of start seeing each other again now that Marcus isn't really with his girlfriend anymore because she's off doing Lord only knows what. And Sasha doesn't really want to be around Keanu anymore. They're clearly on the outs after that disastrous icebreaker.
Uh-huh.
Like you said earlier, this is where they go to the Cantonese restaurant, and this is probably one of my favorite scenes in this movie. I agree, of Marcus being friends with everybody and learning Cantonese to get better service. And
Yes.
it's an interesting, I think it's a really interesting scene of, it's really funny, but it's also this moment for Sasha to be like, no, this place sucks. Why are we going to this place? And she's like, no, you just remember
You remember
everything.
because you remember your childhood poorly.
Yeah, so like everything sucked, but like this restaurant has been here for decades and decades because it's just good. Like there's not, like, yeah, everybody here that's working is super rude, but whatever. Like it doesn't really matter. I do I do really like the woman putting down the one dish and then scooting it away from Sasha.
Yes, that is really good. And I like the fact
Hmm.
that he literally says, like, you get better service. Like, that's
Hmm.
why he learned Cantonese.
Yeah.
And then when he takes them over to him, and then she tries to reach out for some after the service gun, he's like, no, 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 these are mine.
Yeah, he keeps like pulling them closer to him. Yeah. Um and I like that this is kind of all about Marcus showing Sasha that this city is cool, and like maybe the stuff that happened to both of them growing up was bad, but she makes a mention during the icebreaker that she wasn't in love with him for like 18 years, essentially.
Hmm.
And like all of this stuff that happened to them happened to both of them, and that's okay, but you can't kind of, in the same way that Sasha can't shut out her, like you said earlier, Sasha shutting out her kind of childhood and her trauma there, while Marcus is just continuing to kind of turtle up and hole up at home and not do any. He was playing at one club every week.
Yeah.
Like he's not
And
even moving to anywhere else.
refusing to go to Southeast, which is a name I have heard
Yes,
in regards to San Francisco as a decent little place to go, like
right,
all of the nowadays all of the hipsters go to.
right. Um, and I
He,
like
he,
that.
we did forget to mention that he did write a song specifically about tennis balls because
Yes,
his store manager
the merch
ordered like
snafu.
a bajillion tennis
Mm-hmm.
balls.
Yep. The ending line of like, and bouncing anything that's round except for a football is really, those are some catchy songs, man. I gotta give them a lot of credit.
Yes.
um, and then we get this kind of usual third act rom com stuff where it's like, we're falling into love. Wait, you need to insert big life change here, and it's
Yeah, conflict.
Sasha's done with her restaurant here. It's all set up. It's ready to open. She's going to go back to New York to open up the other one over there, like continuing to kind of expand her empire. And
Hey, at least for once, it wasn't the woman changing everything about her life to be with the guy. For once,
right, well, and
it was the flip.
it's interesting too because it's Marcus doesn't really have a ton that's tethering him there in reality, because he's like, well, I can't leave my
Not
dad
after his
alone.
conversation with his dad,
Yeah,
and
because
his
he's like,
dad's
my
like
dad
giving him
needs
crap for it.
a caretaker, and I love his dad is like, the hell I do? What's wrong with you? I can't put this needle in my own butt. What's wrong with you? Like, I don't need a caretaker. Like, what's going
Uh-huh.
on? I've got Diana Ross here with me. We're in love.
Yes, who also appears to be somebody who they know. Uh,
Yeah, like
I don't know.
that one's a
Whatever.
little bit squiffy. Yeah. But I like that his dad again is just like, look, man, like, yeah, we both lost your mom. Like, that sucked for real, but
Mhm.
you you need to continue to move on and grow. Like, you can't just stay frozen here forever. Like, I'm continuing to move on, and like, you know, we're not going to forget her, but she'd be pretty bummed that you were kind of frozen in time here. Um,
Yeah.
and that gets that. I like that his dad shakes Marcus out of his life again. He moves into a terrible, you know, a super expensive small apartment. You know, he's trying to get his life together a little bit more. Merch sales are through the roof, um,
Yep.
and um, I like that he eventually uh, makes up with Sasha. I really, so I really like the scene where he goes to go buy a suit from Tom Ford, and he's like, "My friend Keanu Reeves recommended me.
Let
I'm
me get
friends
that
with him,
tag for
Keanu
you.
Reeves." Yeah, and like he's just like, "Get it off me, get it off me, it's burning, get it off." Like, just the like,
Mhm.
yeah, the line, "It's burning me," like that's it's probably one of my favorite moments in this. And then
Yeah,
he
it's a twelve
goes,
hundred dollar suit, dude.
yeah, and it's just like him going to the suits and stuff thing where it's like, this is $235 and it comes with two pairs of pants and a belt, and it's like, yes,
Hmm.
great, I love it. And
Suits and stuff is a good name too, by the way.
it
I
really
love
is.
I love when any like form of media just adds and stuff to the end of something.
Yeah.
You've got suits and stuff in here. You got food and stuff from Parks and Rec, which is a
Yep.
hilarious one too.
And I really do like his surprise appearance here on the red carpet, because it looks
Hmm.
like, you know, Sasha's making up with her parents. They went to go pay full price at her restaurant, and they didn't even let them know that they were her parents. And, you know, they even bought an extra shrimp, you know, the whole receipt thing. So she brings them as her dates to the red carpet thing. And then he surprises
Like
her.
that, their scene is fine. Like I think her
It's
scene with her
okay.
parents is okay.
Yeah.
Um, her parents really don't matter to the movie in the slightest, other than being terrible parents. Like
Hmm.
that's literally it. I, this is something that I have noticed in my own life is there are certain parents who are horrible parents
Hmm.
who are fantastic grandparents,
Yes.
and it seems like her parents are 100% that way. They're just like, yeah, we're in retirement, and look, now we're throwing like a 7 bell alarm party for your like nephew,
For the kid
for a
was
cousin.
for 8. They were 8, I think it was, for that huge party or something
Uh-huh.
like that. Yeah.
And it's like a cousin. It's not even their kid.
Right.
It's like a cousin.
Right. They're throwing like the largest party on the West Coast. It was really good. I actually kind of like this confession scene here on the red carpet with Marcus. I think it's a speech that goes on just long enough and has just enough awkwardness to it to still be Marcus, but without it going
Hmm.
too far off the deep end, and being, you know, purposely awkward. Um, and I it's weird
It's a decent
because,
speech.
yeah, I think it's a decent speech, and it's kind of it's not really ruined, but it's weird that like the speech is over and she's like, "Oh yes, you know, we'll be together," and then the rest of the movie is like maybe 5 minutes. Like,
Hmm.
she takes him to her new restaurant. It's kind of this traditional home cooking thing named after his mom, and has all of his mom's recipes, and it's a very sweet thing. And then like, he's like, "It's Judy's restaurant" or whatever, and it's just like literally credits.
Judy's Way.
Judy's Way, yeah, and it's like literally credits, and it's like, that's the end. And they have a couple of additional scenes here and there, but it's sort of like, oh, that's okay, we're done. All right,
Hmm.
in and out, I guess. Um, so I a weird end to a weird movie. What did you think
Yes.
overall of Always Be My Maybe?
It's fine. I'm not planning on watching it ever again, to be honest. This is not one of those comfort movies that will be in the rotation at any point. I will probably remember it for one or two scenes. I'll remember, like the Keanu sequence is awkward and funny in equal amounts. The Uber pool joke is pretty solid. I'm not going to lie about that one. And the fact that he 100% did it on purpose, like, that's all great. Like I said, I think the movie is at its strongest when it's not trying to be funny. Like when Randall Marcus gives the speech at the Velvet Rope with the paparazzi, is like, I think that's a great speech.
Yeah,
I especially like the fact that her reaction is that was the bad version. Like that's a really, really good thing. I honestly, I would have loved it if he would have stepped over the velvet rope to jump on the red carpet and a security person would have tackled him.
Right.
Like that would have been hilarious, where they get golden moment and then it just gets ruined by this dude. I think that scene is great, and I love the restaurant scene. I love the new restaurant scene where it's like, yeah, look, big plates, family style, like huge. Like, this isn't the pretentious restaurant. This is the home restaurant kind of thing.
And we didn't even talk about it.
That's really great.
Marcus visits Sasha's San Francisco restaurant and sees this like big, kind of warm, very popular restaurant that's really kind of like bustling and booming. He has this kind of moment of like, oh, like she really knows what she's doing here. Like, this isn't, I never saw the finished product, and this is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a fine movie. It's not going to be my go-to. I think a couple of punches here and there which are really solid, but other than that, it's a perfectly mediocre movie in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, it's interesting because I like Ali Wong and Randall Park as comedians, and I like a lot of their other film roles that I've seen them in. And I think some of the jokes land, like we said. I think some of it's good. But when we get to the romantic stuff, I really like the chemistry between the two of them. Especially in kind of the latter half of the movie when they start getting together. And I feel like a lot of the friction between the two of them feels real, of kind of their core issues and their core frustrations. I think that stuff feels good, but I'm with you. I don't think... I haven't watched this again since I saw it originally, and I'm probably won't again. Not because it's bad, but... if I'm going to watch a romantic comedy, I'll watch some of the better ones that we've covered before.
Yeah, and we also have like 56,000 more that we need to do. Yeah,
we only have like 8 more seasons planned already, but you know, that's between the spreadsheet and us. Let's do ratings here real quick. IMDb 6.7 out of 10, 62,000 reviewers. Rotten Tomatoes here, 89% on the tomato meter.
Whoa.
With 101 reviews, which way higher than I was expecting. And 80%
What's the
audience score with over 1,000 ratings.
That's still higher than I would expect.
Right. And on Letterboxd, 3.1 out of 5 for ratings there, which is around what I would give it. I'd kind of give it the 2.5 to 3 rating, where it's like I didn't waste my time watching it.
Yeah.
Had some pretty good laughs, but kind of wasn't there. So,
honestly, that's probably where I would go to.
That 89% tomato meter, though,
that's a shock.
Way up there. Like that's much higher than I really would have ever expected. All right, well, that's always been my maybe. We started this romantic comedy season off maybe with not a miss, but maybe kind of a middling one here. But we got 4 more movies here, so hope you'll join us for the rest of them. Thanks for listening. See you next time. Bye.
Bye. Also, ignore any scheduling confusion in parts 1 and 2 of every episode this season. Thank you.
Yeah, don't worry about it. And check last season for that. All right, bye.